Hello everyone, today I'm explaining a South Korean thriller movie called Everyone is There. Spoiler ahead. The film begins with a girl running through the forest. She's frightened and runs away, occasionally looking back as if someone is chasing her. She doesn't watch where she's going and slips down some stairs. The girl's face is bruised and her body is full of wounds. She tries to seek help, though she can only let out a low moan. This girl named Soo Yeon is a 16-year-old high school student and is often bullied by her classmates. Soo Yeon lives alone as her mother has passed away, and her father works abroad. When Soo Yeon finally wakes up in the hospital, a male police officer approaches her, trying to investigate what happened. But Soo Yeon just remains silent because the incident has traumatized her. Soon after, a female teacher comes to see Soo Yeon. Along with the teacher, some parents also come to check on Soo Yeon's condition. They are the parents of the students who bullied Soo Yeon. The police then tell these parents that someone saw their children taking Soo Yeon up the mountain, and nearby CCTV cameras captured their actions. Even so, the parents dodge the issue, as there is no strong evidence to show that their children were involved in the violence Soo Yeon experienced. One guardian states that if her daughter is involved in the bullying, she will take a peaceful route and compensate Soo Yeon. The next day, Soo Yeon's teacher informs the principal about the violent incident Soo Yeon suffered. However, the principal chooses to ignore it, as he doesn't want to damage the school's reputation through violence and law-breaking due to bullying. On the other hand, the police try to contact Soo Yeon's father overseas to tell him about his daughter's situation. The response they get is unexpected, because it turned out that Hyundae's father did not care about his own daughter at all, and only contributed to Hyundae's life by providing accommodations to support her life. In fact, what Soo Yeon truly needs now is the attention and care from those closest to her. Soo Yeon becomes very frustrated with everything happening to her, and eventually decides to commit suicide, attempting to strangle herself. But suddenly, a mysterious woman appears and immediately stops Soo Yeon. This woman, named Kang Young, subsequently admits that she is one of the counselors requested by the police to handle Soo Yeon's case. Kang Young then inquires about the problems Soo Yeon is experiencing, and continues to persuade the girl to tell her, assuring that all her problems will be resolved. However, the deep trauma still torments Soo Yeon, seemingly making her unable to speak about what truly happened. Knowing this, she can't push Soo Yeon any further, so Kang Young lets Soo Yeon rest, and tells her not to attempt suicide again, as she promises to help Soo Yeon with her problems. That night, Soo Yeon dreams she's running in a dark forest, and finds herself dead. She then wakes from the nightmare and reflects on Kang Young's words, who promised to come back to help her. The next day, a girl named Myung visits Soo Yeon in the hospital. Myung is one of the students who bullied Soo Yeon, leading to her severe injuries and hospitalization. When Myung arrives and gives her a new school uniform, Soo Yeon simply remains silent, looking down in fear. Soo Yeon knows very well that Myung is not there to apologize to her. Sure enough, Myung then threatens Soo Yeon not to report the incident to the police. After warning Soo Yeon, Myung leaves. Unbeknownst to them, Kang Young is there and has heard everything from behind the curtains. Soo Yeon then goes back to her apartment with Kang Young. If she feels lonely, Kang Young even offers to stay with Soo Yeon. However, Soo Yeon asks Kang Young why she is willing to help her. Kang Young goes on to say that Soo Yeon needs an adult who can understand her situation, not those who constantly judge her and push her to the edge. The next day, Kang Young walks with Soo Yeon in the residential area not far from her apartment. At that moment, Soo Yeon catches a glimpse of someone she knows and then chases after them. As Kang Young tries to catch up with Soo Yeon, she unexpectedly runs into someone she did not expect. Kang Young encounters Soo Yeon's twin sister, Jung Yeon, who looks very much like Soo Yeon and turns out to be the person Soo Yeon was chasing. Jung Yeon's personality is entirely different from Soo Yeon's. Jung Yeon is a brave girl, likes honesty, and doesn't hesitate to resort to violence if someone dares to harm her. Soo Yeon didn't expect to reunite with her twin sister after their mother's death, but when Jung Yeon meets Soo Yeon, she isn't surprised at all. Even this girl doesn't care about her sisterly relationship with Soo Yeon. Jung Yeon sees her twin sister looking very uncomfortable, and then she leaves them. That night, Soo Yeon tells Kang Young that her parents divorced when they were little, and they were raised by their mother. After they were 4 years old, Soo Yeon's mother hands Soo Yeon over to Soo Yeon's father, and from then on, Soo Yeon never sees Jung Yeon again. Even after their mother's death, Soo Yeon tries to find the whereabouts of her twin sister, but she hasn't seen her until today. One day, Kang Young follows Jung Yeon to a cosmetics store and finds the girl stealing lipstick. Kang Young follows her out onto the street, where Kang Young finally introduces herself to Jung Yeon and tells her about Soo Yeon's bullying experience. Then she asks Jung Yeon to help resolve this issue, but Jung Yeon immediately refuses. Jung Yeon doesn't want to know, nor does she care what has happened to her twin sister. Kang Young is eventually forced to threaten her with the theft Jung Yeon just committed in the cosmetics store. Kang Young also offers money in return if Jung Yeon helps Soo Yeon. With no other options, Jung Yeon reluctantly complies with Kang Young's request. That night, Jung Yeon visits Soo Yeon's apartment, and Kang Young asks Jung Yeon to temporarily live with Soo Yeon while they are executing a plan to address Soo Yeon's bullying problem. Kang Young devises a plan for Jung Yeon to take Soo Yeon's place, with Jung Yeon disguising herself as Soo Yeon to go back to school. However, Jung Yeon refuses this plan as she doesn't want to play the part of her weak twin sister. Kang Young says that this plan is only temporary since Soo Yeon will soon transfer schools. But before Soo Yeon transfers, Kang Young wants Soo Yeon's bullies to be rewarded for what they've done to Soo Yeon. Jung Yeon still insists she doesn't want to pose as Soo Yeon and leaves her sister's apartment immediately. On the way, Jung Yeon receives a video showing Soo Yeon experiencing violence. Seeing this violence, Jung Yeon is very shocked and hasn't thought that someone could do this to another person. Jung Yeon then returns to Soo Yeon's apartment and decides to help her twin sister take revenge on her bullies. The next day, Jung Yeon arrives at the school with her own personality and appearance, surprising her classmates, who think she is Soo Yeon. When Jung Yeon sits at her desk, Myung comes to the girl and starts to bother her as usual. Jung Yeon immediately identifies Myung as one of the perpetrators who hurt Soo Yeon. Jung Yeon then shows Myung the video, threatening her. Myung immediately becomes angry and tries to attack her, thinking she is Soo Yeon. However, what now stands before Myung is Jung Yeon, who doesn't stand by when someone tries to harm her. Jung Yeon slaps Myung, knocking the girl down. Then Jung Yeon grabs Myung's hair and slaps her again. Afterward, Jung Yeon strangles Myung and records it with a satisfied smile. Seeing this, Myung's friends suddenly become afraid, not daring to help Myung, until finally a female teacher comes to stop the commotion, then takes Jung Yeon and Myung to the teacher's room for questioning. When the teacher questions their previous argument, Jung Yeon just smiles and warns Myung to think about what she has done and reflect, or she will face even more painful retaliation. Myung then leaves the room, while Jung Yeon is still held by the teacher. Jung Yeon openly questions this teacher, accusing her of deciding to cover up the bullying case that Soo Yeon experiences, which is entirely unjust to the victim, makes Soo Yeon's situation worse, and doesn't solve any problems. After going home, Jung Yeon shows Soo Yeon the video of Myung being strangled by her. But Soo Yeon doesn't feel happy. Instead, she feels sad, as this is not the revenge she truly wishes for. If you repay them with violence, it is the same as bullying the weak. Kang Young, knowing what Jung Yeon has done, doesn't mind at all. Nevertheless, Kang Young hopes the bullies sincerely apologize to alleviate the trauma Soo Yeon has suffered. The next day at school, Myung and her friends no longer dare to bother Jung Yeon, still thinking that Jung Yeon is Soo Yeon, and Jung Yeon deliberately teases them all. That night, Jung Yeon returns to Soo Yeon's apartment with some things she has bought with the money Kang Young has given her in exchange for agreeing to follow her plan. Jung Yeon also buys some things for her twin sister, as it is their birthday. Soo Yeon then returns Jung Yeon's kindness with a cake, saying she has never celebrated her birthday before. The twin sisters seem to be very pleased with their very simple birthday celebration. The next day, Soo Yeon goes to school quietly while Jung Yeon is still asleep. Once there, Soo Yeon watches her teacher enter the principal's office with a panicked expression on her face. Soo Yeon then accidentally overhears a conversation in the principal's office, learning that Myung's mother is requesting the school cover up her daughter's bullying case. Myung's mother appears to be an influential woman in the school, as the principal and teachers seem to respect her. The principal subsequently tells Myung's mother that she will expel Soo Yeon from the school. Knowing she will be expelled from school and that no one is on her side, Soo Yeon runs crying to the bathroom. On the other hand, seeing that Soo Yeon has become a weak girl again, Myung then bullies Soo Yeon as usual. When she returns to her apartment, Soo Yeon's body is already very weak, soaked all over. Then Soo Yeon faints. Seeing her twin sister's condition, Jung Yeon immediately knows that Myung's doing. Then Jung Yeon calls Myung, directing her to the place where Myung and her friends tortured Soo Yeon, and threatens to distribute the video of Myung's violence if the girl doesn't comply. Myung is terrified and goes to that place alone, but Jung Yeon subsequently punches her down with a heavy blow and ties her up while she's unconscious. Then Jung Yeon records Myung in an obscene way, intending to threaten the girl. Jung Yeon also threatens to splash Myung's face with hard water, making her reflect on everything she has done to Soo Yeon so far. Then Jung Yeon lets Myung run as fast as possible, promising to catch up in a few minutes. If Myung successfully escapes, Jung Yeon promises to delete the obscene video. Ma-young runs and falls in terror, just like Soo Yeon did when she slipped trying to escape from Ma-young and her friends. However, Soo Yeon suddenly appears, asking Jung Yeon to stop her actions, as this is not the way she wishes to repay Ma-young's behavior. Soo Yeon immediately starts to untie Ma-young, but Jung Yeon stops her. Soon after, Kang Young arrives and demands that Jung Yeon stop what she has been doing. Kang Young then calls the police and reports the incident without implicating Soo Yeon and Jung Yeon. After a while, the police find the unconscious Ma-young and immediately take the girl to the hospital. Ma-young's mother thinks that Soo Yeon is the one who assaulted her daughter and files a report with the police station. But the police are confused, as the Soo Yeon they have arrested is different from the Soo Yeon they previously encountered, who was the victim of violence by Ma-young and her friends. When the police interrogate Jung Yeon in a room, Kang Young subsequently enters, but strangely, they don't notice her presence. All eyes are on Jung Yeon, and due to the lack of evidence, Jung Yeon is eventually released. As she leaves, Kang Young's figure also departs, never to return. On the way home, Jung Yeon encounters Ma-young's mother, who tries to attack her. The police immediately intervene with Ma-young's mother, and then ask Jung Yeon why she has hurt her daughter. But Jung Yeon evades by saying she merely took Ma-young somewhere, and the girl suddenly fell. Jung Yeon then reveals her disguise, saying she is Jung Yeon, Soo Yeon's twin sister, while the real Soo Yeon is at home, still suffering from the trauma of the bullying. Jung Yeon subsequently states that she will kill all the bullies who hurt her twin sister. When they ask who sent her, Jung Yeon reveals that it was all orchestrated by the guidance counselor. Jung Yeon mentions that the police are even more confused about what really happened and can't obtain any information about Kang Young. When the police arrive at Soo Yeon's apartment, they find no one there. On the other hand, Ma-young finally wakes up and begins to babble incoherently, raving that Soo Yeon was talking to herself when attacking her. After hearing Ma-young's testimony, the police finally realize that Soo Yeon has a split personality, and in fact, Jung Yeon and Kang Young are Soo Yeon herself. After the torture that Soo Yeon went through that night, she experiences severe trauma, leading her to hallucinations, and she finds a guidance counselor and has a twin sister. In reality, there is neither Kang Young nor Jung Yeon, only Soo Yeon. Soo Yeon wishes to have a courageous attitude to face those who always bully her, so she creates Jung Yeon within herself. Soo Yeon also wishes to have an adult who understands all her problems and is willing to help her, so she creates Kang Young. Soo Yeon personally resolves the issue after taking revenge on Ma-young that night. After a while, Soo Yeon appears to be going somewhere, where she is escorted by Kang Young, who smiles by her side, though this is just her own imagination. Before leaving, Soo Yeon expresses her desire to become an excellent guidance counselor like Kang Young. However, the actual situation is very different. Soo Yeon passes away shortly after crying out for help. All the events in the film are actually just Soo Yeon's imaginings before the girl's death. A movie about bullying stings the consciences of many, portraying that bullying in schools can lead to torture and death, and some in positions of control choose to turn a blind eye, as it would affect their power or reputation. Perhaps a little attention to the victims of bullying means a great deal to them, even if it only alleviates their pain, giving them a reason to try again. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.